Never charge hourly, unless it makes sense. Welcome back, all you beautiful Bulletproof handymen and women, to the Bulletproof Handyman business channel. And today we're going to be talking about charging hourly, or rather not charging hourly. Now, I'm going to give you 3 caveats to which this applies. Number 1 is going to be, this is only for skilled labor. Skilled labor means your client doesn't know what to do, but you do know what to do, and they're relying on your skill to get a job done that they otherwise could not do themselves or choose to not learn themselves. Number 2, this is for handyman work, or what I like to call multi-trade. Multi-trade meaning it's not just one trade. This may be electrical work, plumbing work, landscaping, roofing, any number of different trades across the entire spectrum. So this is if you're multi-trade. If you are one single trade, then perhaps hourly might be a little better for you. And number 3, this is for owner-operators, not for businesses where you're the owner and you're hiring a handful of employees to go do this work for you. So owner-operator, you own the business, you do the work, you do the admin work, you find the clients, you're the all-encompassing everything guy, not charging hourly, and the arguments I'm going to make for that, this is for you owner-operators. Okay, so first of all, charging hourly is not going to account for our general level of discomfort, also known as how crappy this job is. So as an example, let's say that we have a pipe repair, a plumbing repair. It's going to take 2 hours. And this 2-hour plumbing repair, are we going to want to charge the same for 2 hours of plumbing work if A, it's in a utility room, nice and open, right at about chest height, very easy to work on? Are we going to want to charge the same for that as we're going to charge if it takes 2 hours to repair a pipe under a house in a crawl space in the middle of the winter in cold muck? Or are we going to be okay with charging the same for a 2-hour-long pipe repair if it's in a crawl space in an attic in the middle of the summer, covered in insulation, itching head to toe, and sweating head to toe? And as a third example, what if it takes us 2 hours to do a pipe repair and we're under a kitchen sink, covered in mouse poop and pee, if we're even willing to do that job, which honestly, I'm going to talk more about that on another one of these. So yeah, argument number 1 is that it doesn't take into account how crappy the job is, and I don't know about you, but I'm not going to charge the same for easy, comfortable work as I charge for really, really uncomfortable work. And charging hourly is not going to account for your skill levels across different domains, and what I mean by that is, let's say that you need to do electrical troubleshooting. That is clearly far more valuable than, let's say, landscaping, which is why a landscaper for 2 hours of their time costs you quite a bit less than a certified electrician for 2 hours of their time. And you, as the handyman, you're going to be doing both landscaping and electrical troubleshooting and plumbing and roofing and 1,000 other different trades. And every one of those trades is going to have a different value that a client typically would be paying if they called out a licensed person in that trade. So if you're covering all of the trades, you can't have one hourly rate that you're charging across the board, both for landscaping and window washing, as well as for electrical troubleshooting. Another issue you're going to run into trying to charge hourly, especially if you're new, and I think most of you watching my videos are relatively new, is when you dive into this handyman world, you're going to start gaining in value very quickly. How much you know and how fast you're able to get these jobs done, all the little tips and tricks that you pick up along the way, especially in the beginning, you're going to get insanely more valuable very, very quickly. And if you're charging hourly, as you gain value, you should be charging more since your value per hour is more. But to your clients, if they hired you initially at $75 an hour, and then they call you 6 months later and you're $100 an hour, and then they call you 6 months later and you're $125 an hour, they're eventually going to stop hiring you and they're going to hire somebody else who, at least at face value, appears to be more affordable than you. The difference here is that you're charging the same amount for the same amount of work to get done, hypothetically, as the guy who's cheaper per hour. The only difference is the guy who's cheaper per hour, which used to be you, that guy's just going to take more hours to do it. So if you charge per hour, it's going to start looking like price gouging when the client sees that the exact same guy just keeps charging more and more and more per hour every 6 months when they get that next phone call to come work for them. And then, of course, charging a flat hourly rate doesn't account for all the hazards that you're going to run into on these jobs, because you're going to be doing work sometimes up on a roof, or you're going to be doing it up on top of a really tall ladder with vaulted ceilings. You're going to be in mold-infested areas, or you're going to be in roach or mouse or other pest-infested areas. And charging one flat hourly rate just isn't going to cover all of the different hazards that you're going to be exposed to as you go from job to job. Another thing to consider is that you're going to be way better at certain skills than you are at other skills, which means you're going to be more valuable at those skills than you are at other skills. And the long-term result is going to be you're way too expensive for stuff that you suck at, and you're way too cheap for the stuff that you're great at. And guys, if you take nothing else away from this video, this is the #1 point I think that needs to be made about charging hourly. Regardless of your morals, your values, and your ethics, regardless of how hard of a worker you are, and regardless of how honest you are, hourly rates do incentivize laziness. You don't want to be putting yourself in a position where the slower you work and the more trips you have to make to Home Depot, the more money you get out of this individual job. Because keep in mind, all of these jobs, to the client, they have the same value in the end. A job completed and well done has the same value whether you took 1 hour or 3 hours to complete it. So don't put yourself in a position where being slow and taking too many trips to the hardware store is what puts the most amount of money in your pocket today. And let's not forget that flat hourly rates also disincentivize you from becoming more efficient by having a better inventory and better tooling. And what I mean by that is, let's take a standard interior paint job as an example. If you have a nice big 3,000 square foot full interior paint job to do, you can do that by hand with brushes and rollers 8 hours a day for 8 days and make some really good money at $100 an hour. But unfortunately, if you're charging hourly like that, it's never going to be to your advantage to go buy yourself a new paint sprayer kit and to learn some new skills. And the same way with inventory, let's say that you're trying to work on a bunch of tubs and showers that are dripping. It's never going to be to your advantage to develop a good inventory so that you can zip in, knock these out, and zip out. Because again, to the client, these all have the same value. A shower that's no longer dripping is worth $200, whether you took 2 hours to do it or whether you took 15 minutes to do it. And I think for me, one of the biggest downsides to charging hourly is going to be that it puts a ceiling on the total revenue that you can make for a day. If you're charging, let's say $100 an hour, if you're able to charge that much transparently and somebody is willing to hire you to do a full 8 hours of work in one day for $100 an hour, the maximum amount of money you could possibly make that day is $800. And you're going to work 8 full hours for that $800. As opposed to almost any other pricing method where, yeah, you may have some $600 days, but you also may have some $1,000 days, and you might have some $1,500 days, or you might get that $800 day, but you might get it in 4 hours instead of 8 hours. But the point is, there is a cap, there is a ceiling, there is a limit to how far you can take your business with you as the owner-operator if you're charging flat hourly rates. But if you're using literally any other pricing method under the sun, you can become more efficient and more skilled and get better at scheduling and just get better at running your business in general in such a way that you have no real limit to the total daily revenue that you can make. And another big one for me, and this may just be me personally, but when people are paying you hourly, they tend to think that they own you for those hours. So now, after you've started your handyman business, you found yourself full circle back to getting paid hourly with a boss who's telling you what to do, who's watching how long your breaks are, or just how hard you're working, or how fast you're working. They're going to be worried about whether you're outside on the phone, and they don't know why you're on the phone. It may be related to the job that you're doing for them, but I don't want to find myself in a position where the person that I'm working for thinks that they own my time and can treat me like an employee while I'm there working. Now, I do want to say this. I want to make this super clear. You can run a very effective pricing structure utilizing hourly pricing, but it's going to require that you start accounting for all of these variables that I've just gone over. And really the only attractive point of hourly pricing is the simplicity. So once you remove the simplicity by accounting for all the variables that I just talked about here, it's no longer attractive as a pricing method if you're a handyman doing multiple trades, if you're an owner-operator, and if it's for skilled labor, again, meaning that your client doesn't know how to do the job and they're counting on you to know how to do the job. So guys, keep in mind, I don't know everything. I started this business 4 years ago and I have changed my mind on multiple things throughout the course of this business. Sometimes I've changed my mind and then changed my mind back. All I can do for you is give you my honest opinion of where I'm at with my business currently. I do think the best thing for you to do is to listen to what I have to say, because I do have some good experience to back it up, but then also go and listen to the people who disagree with me, and then think about your business and your personal situation and figure out which is the best method to apply to your business today. Once you've done that, observe what the outcomes are, and then think about it again some more. Maybe watch my videos again, watch some others again, and see if you need to make any changes. But do keep in mind that a business is a living thing. It's a dynamic, living and growing and changing thing. It's always going to need constant observation and constant attention to grow it into the healthiest business that it can be. And then finally, I do want to remind you guys of a few things. Number one, you can download my custom line items, which is a lot of my standardized pricing that I use in my actual handyman business. You can go to the bottom of the description of this video or any of my videos and click on that link to download my business documents. There's a lot of great documents in there, but one of them you're going to find is the CSV files for my custom line item pricing. You can download those, and if you have Jobber, you can upload them into your Jobber account and be using mine. Now, I will give you the caveat that I think you should go through and adjust the wording and adjust the pricing to fit your description and your region, but those are available for you to download. And also, every single weekend, almost without fail, I do a webinar for my workflow where I show you how I import jobs, how I create the work orders in my Jobber software, how I write invoices, how I write quotes, etc. And these are free webinars that I do every single weekend with no charge whatsoever. So if you guys want to join those, there's also links in the description to sign up for those webinars. And if you're not using Jobber yet and you'd like to give it a try, there's a link in the description for a free 14-day trial of Jobber that, if you do choose to purchase, is going to come with a 20% off discount for the first 6 months. And then finally, I like to do a lot of camping, and I like to invite you guys to come camping with me. So if you want some more personal attention, if you want to be able to pick my brain, or if you just like to go camping with me, go to the description of this video and all of my videos, and you should find some links to sign up for those camping trips. Most of those are also free. I get the sponsors to pay for them. So guys, again, no paywalls on this channel. Lots of resources available for you. I'd love to go camping with you. I'd love to see you at one of my webinars. I love you guys. I hope you're out there killing it, and I'll see you on the next one.